Right, so having done the back distance hills, you want to bring something into the foreground. Now if your layout is along the edge of here, the idea really that I like is to get some trees coming up in the foreground, and to do that I use a fairly stiff brush with a fairly stiff dryish paint on the end, and I just spike it up like that so that you've got various colours going in there. Add to them. Again, don't be afraid to mix colours, and you can get all
because
sorts
it's
of
darker,
yeah,
it's in the foreground,
it
isn't
throws everything else further back.
Yeah.
It throws things into the background, it throws them into the
It's certainly
distance
working,
hill.
it looks the part.
And you can do all sorts of things like that, and then all of a sudden your trees that you've already put there are in the distance. And likewise, if you wanted to do a fairly big tree, if you wanted something that was going to be
A Bob Ross moment.
a fairly sort of bold tree, yeah, that around there,
Bob Ross
don't be
moment.
afraid, just up on the hill there.
Oh, as big as that?
Yeah, that's a foreground tree,
Oh, right, yeah.
and leave air holes, I call it, in the tree, so that you've got sort of areas where the branches are not so thick. They're letting a little bit of greenery come through, and a little bit thicker towards the centre. We've got a little bit strong there on the colour. Don't worry, add a little bit of white, add a little bit of brown, whatever it is, don't be afraid. Play around
Blend
with
it in.
That's it, and then you can bring it on down, and again you've already put yourself a nice big tree there, and then you put something into the background as well, and done that. So I just put the paintbrush in my mouth, that's why it was a bit blurry then, sorry about that. You then just take a little bit of the greeny browny colour. Remember, tree trunks are not brown, tree trunks are a greyish greeny colour.
Really?
Yeah, very very few tree trunks are a purish brown. Just take some colour, bring it up in, okay, let it come through. Doesn't matter what it looks like at this stage, okay, because all you do once you've done that is go back over it and lose some of it, so you've got the hint of it coming up through the base of the bushes at the bottom there. So again we've got a little bit of colour, a little bit of greenery, and that tree's come out through the bottom there with various colours. I bought a new colour on the way up here the other day. I haven't tried this one yet, so this is going to be interesting to see. It's a
You spent some money?
Yeah, I spent some money. It's a yellowy green. It's called don't know, bright yellow green. So just going to give it a try. I'm going to mix it in with the other colours, because on its own it's probably going to be a bit
mixing tray on your table and you can't see.
Right, sorry about that.
There.
I've been told to put my mixing tray on the table.
Well, I want to see what you're doing.
So again, I'm not mixing too much. Oh, it is bright, isn't it? Oh, what a lovely summer's day. No, it's bright summer, that is.
Oh, is it?
Bright summer, yeah. We've got a little bit of summer coming in here.
Big old tree, isn't it?
Get rid of some of the brown.
What's that, an 80 foot?
Yeah, it'd be something like that. Yeah. Okay, sunshine's
It's amazing how quickly you've made a tree there with just blobbing that brush on the
there we go. And we'll put a little bit of this brown with a little bit of this new bright green we found. We'll add a little tiny bit of the vermilion to it as well, because adding 2 or 3 colours together gives us another colour, and then we'll just put another bush in there. This one's a bit browny, and again round the edge of it, just a few light dabs around the edge, and then you can basically go on up, you can put spikes in, you can do it how you want from the bottom, and keep on adding whatever you think is right for you. You know,
because I suppose that being a back scene, you'd have your proper trees.
Yeah, you'd have proper trees
in the foreground,
and you'd have buildings in front as well,
and
which would give it a 3-dimensional
sort
of look.
I can see where you're coming from there.
That's right, yeah. So you got a 3-dimensional look. Again, if it's gone wrong, don't worry about it. Just put a hill there. Okay. If you're not happy with that, put a bit of a hillside there, okay, and immediately you've lost a bit of it, doesn't matter, there we go, that's that out of the way. And then you can change that and just do that as you feel it should be. But there we go again, going over the horizon in places, it just gives it a little bit more colour, a little bit more texture, and a little bit more distance as well. So you can do all sorts of things. What did you say
you were going to do to the right then on that?
Okay, on the right hand side, I thought we'd do a quarry.
You just move it over to your left.
Yeah.
When you're ready.
Will do. With Kingsmill, I had a quarry.
You just can't get the staff these days.
You can't. 3 colours for the quarry. I've got acrylics again. This is a Payne's Grey.
Are those sold in art shops?
Any art shop, craft shops, that sort of thing. Medium grey, which is a silvery grey, and I've got a acrylic fine artist titanium white. And what I'll do, once again...
So they'd last a long time, those.
Can you pass me a clean brush, please, George?
I knew I'd come in handy for something.
Very little, very little. Yeah, big one. Yeah. That's beautiful. What
Is that alright, sir?
Yeah, what I've got this time is a better, just over 1/4 inch brush. Find a fresh hole, a little bit of white, we'll have a little bit of grey, that's the darker grey, and this is the silvery grey. So all these other colours that are in the pot, they're all dry, they're from weeks ago, days ago.
So you don't have to wash it out on everything?
As I say, I've had this tray now has been going on for
does look a
the
bit
best
grubby.
part of 4 or 5 years. I really ought to have put a new one in for the day. Right, we wanted to put a quarry in the corner. We're going to start off with a darkish colour, and I'm going to put a little tiny bit in there, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of the lighter grey and just put with it so it's not too dark. Okay, and we'll just put a little bit on there like that. Okay, we'll get a little bit more of the lighter colour on there, and this time I'll put the lighter colour straight onto the board, not onto the palette, not mixed it separately. Picking up a little bit of white now,
just blending it in,
and putting the white in there as well, is to make sure that I've got a different colour in this area here. A lot of the Derbyshire layouts are set in or near rock faces, quarries, whatever it might be, and this is the ideal way to do it. It doesn't look much at the moment, rough edges to the top of the quarry. And quarries are all sorts of shapes and sizes. You can get all sorts of areas that are sort of ups and downs and that sort of thing, and each one, as you can see, I'm not worried about what I'm picking up. If I pick up a wrong colour, I'll go over it with another colour. Don't worry about it.
So you can't make a mistake then?
Can't really make a mistake, no. Right, I'll put a few colours on there now. You can see where I'm going with that. I'm just going to swap brushes again. Pick up the brush that had some green on it. This might be the wrong green, but we won't worry about that too much, and we'll put some bits of greenery coming in around there. Like that. We'll pick up a little bit of the darker colour there, and we'll put up some greenery that's coming around the bottom, and some there, and then up on the top of the hill there. I hope that's coming out okay, that there's some bits of tree, bits of bush. If it's a bit too light, we pick up a bit of dark, and we just put in a bit like that, a bit more green, mix it with that, dab it on the brush. That's a bit too yellowy, don't worry about that, or greeny rather. We'll just go over the top of that, and we'll just again we'll put a shrub, a bush, a tree, whatever it might be, just up on top of there. And again, we've thrown the hillside there right away into the distance now. That's looking a long, long way away. And the bottom of your quarry hillside is coming up here with more and more greenery. And you can use oranges and yellows as well for these. It's amazing what colours you can get away with. Oranges and yellows right in the bottom of here will actually make it look quite good. It will sparkle it, will make it stand out. So there's a bit of a rock face, bit of a quarry. Again, just swap the brush and just pick out bits again.
Could you scratch it with a knife?
You could do, yeah. Once it's a bit dry,
give you like
yeah,
strands and
that's it, yeah.
Stems of flowers.
You'd be amazed what you can do. I mean, some of it, it
comes down a bit.
Yeah,
that's it.
Some of it looks quite good when it's been scratched through.
What we do when you've done this little bit, we'll put it on Trebalic in the background.
We'll see how it looks on Trebalic.
You can see just how effective
it is. Yeah,
and
indeed. Yeah,
it's only taking you one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and you could have had an 8-inch strip.
Yeah, that's
about
right. I mean,
7 foot long.
Yeah,
and you could just go along.
Yeah.
Whatever terrain you want.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And,
no pun intended.
No. But by putting bits of highlights in, and by highlights I don't only mean the whites, I mean the darks as well.
When that's dry, could you then, I need a tree here, go over the top of it?
You can do whatever you want. The sky's dry now. I mean, that sky is dry from what we did earlier. And let me bring this down a little bit.
Tip it up towards me a bit. That's
How's that? Right, okay, so the sky is dry there. If I take a bit of wet tissue and we just wet it a little bit more, and I want the cloud to go a little bit, we've got some green on that tissue, but make sure the tissue is clean, and you can actually just move.
Could you put more blue on there?
You could put more blue on, but it wouldn't pay to. You could even add a little bit of grey. I mean, if you really wanted to...
a rain cloud coming.
Yeah, if you wanted to highlight the clouds a bit, you can do something like that with them, and you can then
need to bring it down a bit, Andy. You can't quite see what you're doing.
How's that?
That's better,
yeah. Okay, I've lodged it with a brush a bit there.
Oh, we got a storm cloud.
Oh, we got a storm cloud brewing. But again, when you start to smudge it, you can get all sorts of effects with that.
Seems to.
And you can then bring that alive. Remember, clouds always fade out at the bottom as well, or usually fade out at the bottom, depending on what sort they are. And a bit of a cloud effect there coming in. And again, you can do that and just play around with it. I don't advise playing around too much with the sky after you finish with it, because generally, 9 times out of 10, you will spoil it. We've just placed the board that I've done just behind the fencing on Trebalic to give you some idea of how it would come out if it was behind a backdrop that you already had on the layout, either behind an existing hedge, fence, or whatever it might be in the building. And you can see there how it blends in and immediately throws it into the distance.
Now you lift it and you see the one you've done on Trebalic.
And there's the original one.
And there you can see the one on Trebalic. As you can see, it's got a hell of a lot of depth there. It really looks the part.
Very little detail. The more detail you put in, the more fussy it becomes, and the less it looks realistic.